So on Wednesday between 12 and 1, you tried to give an officers a license plate, and
Mm.
they
He just said that the call could be under register under anybody's name.
which
So I
is
was like, well, that's
asinine.
true, but
That's asinine that even told you that. Really? Because I've seen cases where they got a tag and it was somebody mama car and they went to that lady's house and fished out who was driving that car and made them rent. That's how that works, really. That's how that really works. And look, I want to tell you, him right here, I know his family. I don't know him, but I know he gonna do right.
So I will tell you that I have concerns that those officers did not take that information and include it in the report. I think that they will find out who they are, and the reality is that they all wear body worn cameras, so we'll be able to see
Yeah.
Yes.
exactly what they didn't do, so we can hold them accountable. That's
Okay.
problematic to me because a victim calling to give a license plate is basic investigative work.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Yes,
So
sir.
that's something that we're gonna. That's why we're asking for descriptions so we can figure out who these people are.
Right. We all gonna do right. Obviously, you were wrong. We're not here to make excuses.
Yeah.
Thank you.
We really want to know.
No criminal history, nothing here with this
We
lady.
really want to know because you are not the only one. And one of the things that we evaluate every day is how can this be the last one? We ain't there yet. We far from it, obviously. That's why we.
Can we get an arrest here, Commander? Captain, can we get an arrest here? $1,500 worth of property damage. She had to do her own investigation. Go find the dude, tell y'all when he was there.
Can we work through this, and then I'll tell you at the end where we probably are legally. So then the next issue is that when you would call us, it would take us a while to get there, right? So you called probably 2 or 3 times.
Three.
And then the third time was the time that we got there and he was still there?
Yeah.
Okay. So then that time we actually located him and
He was inside working.
and found him, got his name from him, saw the video, and then
And he played, I've got to say this for the record. And he played like he didn't know what they were talking about.
Yeah,
And he was just
did
as
say it
calm
was a mistake and stuff.
and tried to lie. It
That's
shows
when the officer asked me to
intent,
see. He was
everything.
like, "Let me see the video," but we walked
Show
away.
him the video.
I think that we demonstrated criminal intent by what he's done.
Yeah. But I mean, he's just, like it's flagrant. And so that's summonsable? $1,500 worth of damage? I went to jail last year for disturbing the peace. I know it wasn't your district, but it still happened.
So typically, officers are instructed to give a summons for simple criminal damage to property. But it depends on the threshold, right? So at the time that he was, when did you bring Miss Watson the documents showing how much the money was?
Let me double check.
No, man, I'm pretty sure that if I went in Eastover right now and scratched up a brand new Lexus, that I would go to jail. I'm pretty sure on that, Officer Gernon. I am pretty sure on that. That's where I have to be adamant now. So that's why I started off this conversation with discretion. And this doesn't have to be.
Our directive has been, especially since COVID, but really before that, to reduce the jail population in New Orleans. I think you're familiar with that.
Someone did mention that to me.
So how many property damage arrests do you have this month? Do I need to start going and look at the records?
You can put in a public records request if you want.
Yeah, I think we're gonna have to do that because listen, bro.
And if I knew,
Everyone you arrested in the 7th district last year was a violent issue. You had to take them.
I will tell you this, that we try and issue more summonses than bringing people downtown because we lose that officer from this district, bringing them to Central Lockup.
I can understand that.
Because they have to leave the east.
I can understand that. You got low manpower. I get that. But my point is,
because a summons is a rule of arrest. But when did you give them that number?
I'm gonna say Thursday, which will be because the summons happened on Wednesday, and I did everything like the next day, so that would be the 24th.
So at the time, although what we have is new information, at the time that we were summoning him, we did not know how much the amount was.
Right.
Because there is a threshold for it being.
it wasn't taken seriously, period. All of that should have been an investigation. There should be pictures, and everybody know what it costs to paint a brand new Lexus Infinity.
So would capture that damage.
But my point is, just by him lying and denying it and being on film and still wouldn't own up to it, that's, man, he should have been arrested.
So suspects,
They never asked him if he did it. They just asked for his identification.
according to this report,
Okay.
they probably not.
Once
So
the,
there's
I
some
guess
things
when
they
the guy
probably
walked
pulled
me
off to the
off,
side
yeah.
because
He admitted it
there's some things that, you know,
after
like,
being told he was on video.
yeah. So suspects lie to us often and regularly.
Mhm.
People deny committing crimes all the time to us.
Mhm.
But the officers didn't just say, okay, well, you said you didn't do it and leave, right?
Mhm.
They came and looked at your video,
Mhm.
and then they went back.
Well,
and
he did that because it's two officers.
Right, they separated. And
Yeah,
then
so
the
while
other
they
one
asking
came.
him for his identification, we walk off, and
Yeah.
I'll show him the video. So he's like, it's definitely intentional. I'll make sure to put it in my report.
Yeah,
Mhm.
and that's looks like what he did was once they established probable cause
Mhm.
to support issuing a summons or making an arrest, they then went back to that individual. And there's a few things, and if you would like, you can certainly go to NOLA.gov/NOPD and look at all of our policies. But basically,
The
also,
malicious nature of that crime, he should have been arrested, bro.
basically, our officers are instructed that if the person is not a flight risk, has a stable address, and we know the identity of the individual, and it's not a crime of violence, there's certain crimes that are.
I'm glad you're saying also on my video. I've been arrested for disturbing the peace twice in the
So
last 2 years, bro.
some of the
Keep
other
talking. That's department policy, right? What you're saying.
NOLA.gov
All right.
/NOPD policies, and you can look at summonses. Some of the other things is that will a
I had to go
summons
sit in the jail with the COVID twice
will a summons
for disturbing the
will the
peace.
person continue to do the thing if they're summoned? So like I don't know your specific circumstance. I really don't.
Yeah, I'm gonna continue to do what I'm doing.
But if an individual say you believe that you're going to give them a summons, but they will continue to say trespassing. Let's just say that like somebody's trespassing. You say, well,
But you gave her no security. She works in a strip mall of 4 businesses with this person.
so
You gave her no securities
so if
at all.
So if the person we believe will continue to do that, we may have to then arrest them, but we have to give them the opportunity to stop. So you have to give them the summons. It is an arrest.
The opportunity to stop. Wait a minute. That's not how we're handling crime. Now we have another issue.
To give
Yeah.
summons,
When we're dealing with, so it's not about race, it's about socioeconomic status.
it's about
That's
holding
what
that
it's
person-
about.
It's about holding that person accountable.
It's about socioeconomic status.
You're not hearing me. It's about holding this person accountable by referring them to court in lieu of an arrest. A summons is appropriate if we have enough to say this person did it, but they're likely not going to continue to do it. And as far as your point with the security, arresting him from that situation, you know that we have a release on recognizance ordinance.
But it's a deterrent. It's a deterrent.
For municipal
That's why we arrest people. I've sat in the classes. It's a deterrent. To have them go down and sit there and understand that this is the procedure, that's a deterrent.
The minute a person gets booked, they're released on their own recognizance if we know who they are, if we don't think they're a flight risk, and if we believe, have no reason to believe they will come forward, right?
And that ain't happening for black people. I work in the court every day.
It happens for all sorts of people, and I would venture to say that if you
Most
look at
people
summons,
that are black and are lower socioeconomic status in New Orleans are paying bonds, $50, $100. They paying them. I'm telling you.
if you look at the city council's website on racial disparity, you'll see the vast amount of actions we take nowadays are summonses. They just are. So you can look at
Someone did mention to me, but I mean, I remember because from talking to the dispatcher coming in the station, someone did say with our new prosecutor Jason that that's part of his rules, not putting a lot of people in jail for misdemeanor crimes. So somebody was like, thank you, new prosecutor, for that. Someone did say.
But that's a serious crime.
Yeah.
no,
You got a nice car. We got $1,500 worth of damage. That's a serious
It's
crime.
not even just about
If I
my
went
car.
right now in this district to Eastover and scratched somebody's Lexus all the way down to the side, I guarantee you I'm going to jail.
it's not a crime of violence, and that's where we're differentiating between crimes of violence and not crimes of violence. This is
Ain't nobody went to jail for stealing in the East this whole. That ain't no crime of violence. Has anyone went to jail for stealing in the East?
Yes.
Yes. That's what I'm talking about, man. So we're back where we started. And I can see that I can see in your eyes that you're frustrated with me. But I'm telling you, if you are, understand, no, I'm not talking over you. We started with you defining to me what's your officer's discretion. And you can't do that.
I didn't define that.
Yeah, you can't. How much does he have? Because we're seeing,
That officers encourage summonses.
and we see that they're still taking the people to jail for stealing.
Have you looked at the the dashboards on how many people are in jail from.
That's not the
from
point.
misdemeanors?
I want to
No, it is.
define what is the criteria for the discretion.
Officers are encouraged to give summonses if the person can be identified, is not a flight risk, is not a danger to the community, and is likely to come to court. That's when they're told to give summonses.
Okay, and so if we examined your records, that's the book that's the way that all of the arrests in the last year have been handled due to COVID.
I will tell you this: if you examine our records, you'll see the vast majority of our actions are summonsable offenses for non-violent municipal crimes. Absolutely.
Okay, so I'm gonna compare that data you're telling me to the cases I have now that I was talking
So you have
about.
20 cases.
More
do-
than
we
20,
do about 1,000 calls
where
for
people are
summonses.
questioning if they're getting equity from your department.
So
When I first said that this was an arrestable offense, your sergeant shook his head, yes. You know that, right?
if we think that person's not going to come to court, if we don't, know that person's.
What do you mean if you think they're not gonna come to court? That's subjective. What does that mean?
Well, I have something to say. I did voice my opinion to Officer A.D. Park. Like at this point, it's not even about race. What about me just being a young woman and it is a grown man who I haven't did anything to,
Yes.
and he just committing a hate crime towards me and vandalizing my car? I'm like, I don't know what else he's going to do. I'm like, because that's the last person I suspected to be on the camera keying my car.
And what does
So-
it mean you think they're gonna come to court? What does that mean from an officer of the law? You think they're gonna come to court.
If they have a history of ducking cases.
So what if they haven't been arrested?
If they tell an officer, I'm not coming to court, well, that they haven't been arrested, we have the assumption that they will likely show up if they sign the summons if they really come to court. And let me deal with your concerns, right? As far as this individual, we can only hold him accountable for what he's done.
Mhm.
All right, we can't. As much as I would like to say, we will know what he's going to do tomorrow, I can only hold him accountable for the actions he's committed.
Mhm.
If he hasn't said he's going to do anything, if he hasn't made any kind of, verbal threats towards you, if he hasn't done anything to make you feel unsafe, then I can't take legal action.
She just said she felt unsafe from the beginning, that she had not done anything to this grown man that's way older than her, and he targeted her.
And we have given him a summons and arrest. And he will have to go before a judge. And the case will be presented to a judge by the city.
So he didn't have to deal with no bond. He didn't have to deal with the scrutiny. He didn't have to deal with the, being, publicly called out with his name on the arrest for what he's done. None of that.
It is summons is in lieu of arrest. Now I understand what you're saying. Why didn't he get arrested?
Mhm.
Our officers are told that if for those criteria, and I'll tell you, you can look at the policy online. If they fit those criteria, they should be given a summons for.
How they knew that a man that it took 5 days to locate was gonna come to court? When he met his job, they couldn't find him.
Doesn't have a history of missing court.
See, that's the gap in the discretion I have an issue with, because we already know that by mandate, blacks have no credibility, man. Right? And so what I'm trying to define here is, what is the standard for this officer to have all this discretion that he can wield, where this woman is victimized and feels unsafe, and it's not an issue with the captain, but we got people that have been arrested for stealing out the grocery store. So I'm trying to figure out what's really going on.
My concern was at least why I wasn't informed. Okay, well, based off the crime, this is a possibility what could happen. No one told me that. I just kept hearing the word, okay, just once you find, yeah, we're going to arrest them. We're going to arrest them.
Because to officers, summonses and arrest are the same vehicle to bring something to court, are the same legal mechanism to bring something to court. They are considered arrests by the court.
So you mean to tell me, if I go outside right now and scratch the councilwoman's car, that all you can do is give me a summons? Because I might do it.
I believe that you'll do it again. I believe that you're a flight risk. Not believe, if I can look at your record and see that you're a flight risk.
I'm not, I don't have no record at all. I'm telling you me, I'm asking you right now, if I go outside and scratch the councilwoman's car, you tell me I will not get arrested?
You would likely be issued a summons.
Likely, that's what I wanted to hear you say. Where is the gap on the discretion, bro? That's all I'm asking you. I'm not trying to put you.
Here's the problem. If I come to you to issue the summons and you say, I refuse to sign that, I'm not going to court, well, then we have to arrest you, right?
I'm talking about before we get to that point.
No.
Where you decide that, hey, that's not important enough for me to have to arrest you.
I'm telling you, we issue summonses to people all day and night in this district. things that we can't issue summonses for are crimes of violence, weapons crimes, domestic violence related incidents, things like that.
So,
For non-domestic violence related municipal cases, summonses are often the way that the officers refer the item to court.
all right. So look, I'm not going to beat a dead horse on that. What I'm going to ask you, and then I'll be done when I say this, when I ask you this question. This is our fear. This is the fear of the community, the grassroots of the city. Our fear is that we watched the carjacking in the East. We saw that carjacking with the white girl, and we saw the officer's discretion, simple burglary. We saw that discretion. That was the initial charge. Yeah. Where the white girl, drug crazed, was at the gas station fighting people for their cars and ran over the little black boy. The first charge you guys gave her before there was an uproar was a simple burglary charge.
No, that's not true.
That is true.
We booked her for carjacking.
Not initially.
Yeah.
No, it was simple burglary.
And there wasn't an uproar. Now, she might have had the warrant for burglary, but for that instance,
The initial charge was simple burglary. We looked it up on the internet.
right. Maybe she had other warrants for simple burglary, but for that specific case where she took the car with the kids in the car,
Yeah.
like she fought the man and he fought her off,
Yeah.
she jumps in the driver's seat, she takes the car, the kids jump out. Yeah, she was booked with carjacking.
It took y'all 4 days later to book her with carjacking.
It took us 4 days to find her. We didn't know who she was.
No. When you had the woman, when you first got the woman, the only thing you were holding her on was simple burglary. We looked on the internet.
No, I don't think that's factually accurate.
Yeah, you don't think
No.
or you don't know? Because I'm telling you, we looked on the internet.
Okay, well, we booked her for carjacking. Did you look in docket?
What the initial charge was. So you want to play that game? So you're denying there was a simple burglary charge?
What I'm telling you is
Are you denying that there was a simple burglary? Because I see how you playing. Are you denying that there was a simple burglary charge? That's my
I don't
question.
know what else she was going for, but
Are you denying that this girl had a simple burglary charge?
I don't
Yes
know.
or no?
I don't know what other warrants she might have been wanted for, but for that crime she committed, we booked her.
I'm not talking about, yeah, I'm glad that you're saying this. I'm not talking about other warrants. I'm saying, are you denying that she was booked by New Orleans Police Department with simple burglary? Are you denying that?
I am telling you that for the case that you're talking about, the action she committed, we booked her with a carjack.
So she was never booked with simple burglary?
She may have had other warrants for simple burglary.
I didn't say warrants. I said, was she,
You know, we can just do this back and forth.
I'm saying, was she booked? I'm asking you, what we're doing back and forth is you're not answering my questions. That was a yes or no question. Was she booked by this department?
I will tell you
Simple
this,
burglary.
in
No?
the court, I don't have to answer things yes or no. I can give an explanation. I don't know what else she might have been wanted for, but for the actions that she took in taking that car, she was booked for carjacking.
Okay. And so you booked her for simple burglary for what?
I don't know what else she might have been wanted for in other places.
Okay, so she had a simple burglary charge on the first day, and then a carjacking charge days later, and you're telling me that you had her and didn't realize that she needed to have a carjacking charge,
I
How-
can't tell you why it takes, without knowing.
but you knew she needed to have a simple burglary charge, though.
I'm sorry. I don't think that you understand
Oh, I
the
do.
case pattern.
I do
So,
understand.
She was booked for carjacking, for which she did. Now,
Was
might
she
have
booked
been-
for simple burglary? Why are you saying
I don't
might?
know.
You don't know?
I don't know. I don't know if she had warrants for other things. I know what we investigated her for, right? But I don't know if she was wanted for other things. I don't know if she was wanted in another jurisdiction.
You don't know what you booked her for?
Sir, do
From
you
this
know what I booked
department?
her? Do you
I think your
know what I booked her?
department did, and I think that was the most heinous crime you've had, and one of the most in a.
And we booked her for carjacking.
Yeah. Was she booked initially for simple burglary? That's what I asked you.
Not for the action she committed there. Maybe she had warrants somewhere else for burglary. But
So
for
you
the
can't
case
say
she
that with
committed-
specificity because you're saying maybe and things like that.
Well,
That's what.
Do you want me to look it up, or do you want to just have this?
Yeah, I would like to look it up. I'd like to know what the real deal is.
Yeah.
I'm sure you're gonna take that video. And chop
Yes.
it up. So let's have.
Chop it up. I don't chop nothing up. Nothing's edited. I would like to know the people to know what the real data is, man. Is that an inconvenience?
Byron, I set this meeting up so that way you can look into this case, and I think the captain.
Well, I told you on the phone that I had multiple cases and that this was just one.
Yeah.
And so if you have somewhere to be, you can go there.
But I think that how we communicate with each other.
I'm not miscommunicating. I'm just being as stern as he is.
Yeah, so.
Yeah, I'm just being as stern as he is. I got everything I've said on recording. I haven't said anything inappropriate. And I don't need a mother. And I'm a professional. And I'm here on a professional accreditation.
You reach out to me.
Yeah.
I follow through.
But I didn't ask you to come in the meeting and try to regulate my behavior. I just asked you to come in as the councilwoman because you know, I want you to know that I'm not disrespecting anyone.
Okay. I'm sorry.
I'm talking to the police captain and he's telling me maybe, perhaps. And that's not what my audience wants to hear. They want to know what's real. So I have a right to ask him if he wants to look it up. Yeah. Let's look it up. Why? When it's his job? Why?
Well, no, we still appreciate each other.
I mean, but why are you appreciating him wanting to do this? He set the meeting.
And that's
so now we got to kiss his ass?
I don't think.
Okay, well, that's what I feel like we're delving into. Okay. And I don't participate in that.
Okay, Byron.
Your etiquette will enslave you. Don't allow etiquette to enslave you, especially when it's not being upheld by the people who are saying that I should have it. Come on now. Don't do that. Don't do that. You know what my job is, and you know what I do.
Well, but I also understand that when we're working something, this is a very sensitive issue.
Yeah.
And we need to, I mean.
Yeah, I haven't cussed or nothing. I haven't done him nothing.
And that's why we're here.
I haven't done him nothing.
Well, no, I didn't say you did anything. I just think that we just.
Well, I don't need you to check my behavior.
Oh, Byron.
Please.
Okay.
I don't need that, baby.
All right.
I don't check yours.
Sometimes you do.
No, I don't.
All right.
When it's an elected,
you got information.
When it's an elected issue, then I do.
Yeah.
I knew he wasn't gonna come with that data.
I'm sorry. You came in here and asked me questions randomly out of the blue.
I'll give you time, Cap. I'm not tripping. It's not an issue. I'm just trying to reiterate right now that you do work for us and that it's not an issue for me to ask you to provide data that you said you're going to show me. I called your bluff. Let me see it. You said you're going to show it. And if you don't have it and you need to get back to me, that's fine. We can do that too. I'm not an unreasonable man. And I'm going to tell you, trust me, you don't get nowhere pandering to these people. They have to respect you. And if they don't, you will get no reciprocity. Trust me. I ain't did nothing for us to get kicked out of here, and I ain't broke no laws, and they granted this meeting. I just want to know what the real information is. That's all. Let's tell the people if there's a double standard or not. We also need to know what's the governor on that officer's discretion. That's an issue when he can decide it ain't an issue or it is off of his own discretion. What's the gauge for that? That's an issue. And why are they teaching me things in policing classes that don't apply in this state that's accredited? The school is accredited in this state, teaching policing things that you don't know nothing about, and you're a captain of a whole district. And I'm not knocking you. I'm just saying it's no wonder we having these problems. There's no cohesion whatsoever at all. There's no cohesion. I'm talking to the captain. And as I'm talking to the captain, he points out to me that calling 911 is something different than calling his department, which to the citizen, it's not. Once we call 911, we feel like we've called wherever district we live in. That's what the citizen thinks. That's what the citizen is led to believe. But this captain pointed out a differentiation that, oh, that's a different department. You called 911. Oh, really? Thank you. Let's alert the public of what's really going on and how y'all are not connected and how there's a vast issue here. And it's not this captain's fault. I'm not looking for nobody's head. I'm trying to solve something, and I know what I'm doing. Thank you, Councilman Gwen, for setting this up and helping me to get this accomplished. We got to talk about discretion for police officers in New Orleans. That's the new convo. Because when they go to lower hanging fruit, they're calling the police. The issue it ain't an issue. But I bet you if I go deal with the rich citizen from the east, it would be an issue if I scratch their $50,000 sports car.
November 2017, and then I started actually working in a location in January 2018. I was on down there.
And you moved down to Chef.
Yeah, into my own space on down, and I was paying boot rent.
Oh, okay.
Listen, man, I wasn't trying to be a tyrant. If y'all need a minute, I can give you that. You can email it to me.
And I go
No,
here
no,
to
no,
the six, and I'll leave.
Yeah, the people want to know. What were the real charges? Is there a double standard? And so we're still not going to arrest this guy that scratched our car, are we?
He's been referred to court, which is he's gonna go to court and he'll be held accountable.
So what about her saying that she feels unsafe in her workplace?
I think that well, you know what, let's do this because we.
And she's been saying that since day one. What about that?
So, we're gonna do one thing at a time, okay?
Mhm.
We brought this up, we're gonna look into this, and then we'll go back to some of the other things that we just had.
Yeah. So man, like I told you, I'm very adamant, but I'm not upset with you. I just met you today for the first time. I'm trying to get your councilwoman to help me get the city hall in the east so we can build y'all some infrastructure and get y'all some jobs back here and some stores and get rid of some of this chaos. If you think that's a good idea, you might want to lobby with me.
Well, I think it's a great idea.
Yes, I will do whatever you need me to do to support that.
Simple robbery.
Yeah, see?
No,
A robbery and a battery.
not burglary, robbery.
Yeah, simple robbery. That was the initial charge, right?
No, he's pulling it up.
Yeah, she was arrested for simple.
Yes,
Yes,
that's my point.
she took the car out.
We should over a child, man.
And that's why it's an aggravated battery. She used the car to commit a crime of violence.
I'm showing that we need to get a handle on the officer's discretion. That should have been a carjacking all day. The car was a weapon.
Right.
It's a weapon when you shoot people and say they were coming towards you. It's a weapon then.
She was charged with using the car as a weapon. That's what the aggravated battery.
It's a carjacking.
Yeah.
She was drug crazed. It was a carjacking. That's the worst example of carjacking you could have. She ran over a child.
She was charged with robbery and aggravated battery.
That's insufficient.
Now, what will happen is the district attorney's office will review those charges and decide if they're appropriate or not. But she was charged with using that car as a weapon, and she was charged with taking that car through force or violence.
Why doesn't it say carjacking?
Because
When she on tape fought multiple people for their vehicles. Physically.
You're talking about two separate things. That one fight, that individual, we don't know who he is. We would need that victim.
But it was at the same gas station. You don't need that no victim. It's on tape.
You need a victim.
The store could file a charge.
No, sir. Okay, I'm not going to
What, the store can't file a charge?
not for that victim getting battered, and there's really no reason for me to have these conversations about the legal theory of the crime because the district attorney's office is going to review it and determine whether or not increase the charge.
You are how the people get initiated in the system. Let me tell you something. Every time I catch a case in Orleans Parish, they give me 4 charges. We know the play. They gonna drop 2 and want me to plead to 2. We know how they do that.
She was arrested for robbery and aggravated battery, which means that she used the car as a weapon.
So you just said she was arrested for carjacking initially. And I
was-
said you were
she
wrong.
was arrested for
And you
robbery.
said you want me to look it up?
She was-
And I called your bluff. So was I correct?
She was arrested.
Was I correct, Captain, or no?
No, because you thought she was arrested for burglary.
Okay, but I said that it wasn't sufficient and that it wasn't carjacking, and you said it was, right?
So you said
You got a problem with yes or no questions, don't you? You ain't gonna be here long. And you know that trick you tried to use just now about I knew your mother? That shit don't work here. I'm done. Yeah, it was a trick. It was a trick because you can't answer yes or no questions. And that's a problem with all the authority and discretion you have. That's an issue, bro. Did you just say that I was wrong and that she had been arrested for carjacking or not?
She was arrested for robbery. I was mistaken.
Okay, thank you. So could you be mistaken about some of the other things we're talking about here? See, this was about credibility, sir. That's what I'm talking about. This was about
You
credibility.
believe she was arrested for burglary? She was. She was arrested for battery.
Yeah. No, I said that she should have been arrested for carjacking, and you said she was.
Yeah.
And I said, no, she wasn't.
She was arrested for robbery.
So are we going to have to go behind you and make sure that you're giving us equity? Are we going to have to examine every arrest, bro? That's all I'm here for today. Because ain't nobody scared to go to jail, and we not scared to do civil disobedience. And I came here in a nice tone to ask you, what do we need to do?
If there's
Because you're going to get it either way. Can we do it how do you want it?
If there's any arrests or concerns you have, we'd be happy.
Is this guy going to be arrested? This woman's still afraid to go to her business. She has no record. She's a model citizen, a young black female that is legitimately running a business, and she don't feel safe in the strip mall because the dude's 2 doors down.
And honestly, what he did was wrong, and he's being held accountable.
But if it was wrong, why didn't you show him with the deterrence that you have available with an arrest, make him have to bond out, make him have to go through the procedure, make it cumbersome? Why not?
He wouldn't have had to bond out because it was a municipal arrest. He would have been given an arm.
That ain't the point. Well, hopefully he couldn't have got fast tracked and he had to sit there a night. How do you know? I've been there on municipal shit and didn't get fast tracked. If they tell you they're booked, so you don't even know how the jail works, man. I go to jail all the time. I've been and only for municipal while you're bullshitting, and I've spent the night. Okay, so you don't know if they get locked, if they get behind, you will sit there for a municipal charge. So I'm telling you the real world.
He's going to have to account for his actions in court, and obviously he's going to have to defend himself. And I don't know if he has a defense. Honestly, I don't know why he did it. And it's horrible that he did, but he's going to be held accountable.
Well, my whole point is, what is the discretion of the officer, man, and how is that unleashed? Is he thinks it's a cool person? Because when he went in, this particular individual was like, oh, I'm calm and there's really no issues. So that's what he went with?
So the officers are absolutely instructed that when they are able to, they should make a summons and move an arrest. That's what they're told to do. And in this case, especially since we didn't have the amount yet, in this case, it was a non-crime of violence municipal charge, so they issued him a summons and move an arrest.
And that's a department policy.
Yes.
And you do realize that I have an open case with the Independent Monitor right now where I was arrested for disturbing the peace 4 blocks away from where they said I disturbed the peace. I just needed all that on my video. Thank you.
You can go to no all.
Yeah, I needed all that on my video. So there is 2 double standards of how we're rocking. You guys are going to have to develop a policing style and stick to it according to the federal mandates. That's in the curriculum. So I'm going to call you back.
That's in a college curriculum, okay?
Why would they be teaching that in policing classes if it's not what we're doing in America?
They're teaching a local college policing theory, okay? And
No, that's not theory. What I'm talking about ain't theory of how one should be policed. I'm telling you what the federal government says are acceptable police. Really, you shouldn't be saying that because you not knowing what I'm talking about is really,
it's constitutional.
it's not good.
And we are monitored by a federal judge and under a federal consent decree.
I'm talking about discretion of the officer, bro. The fact that you don't know that is
Well,
alarming.
discretion of the officer, certainly if officers are using it inappropriately, it can be problematic. And that's why we have a lot of
Well, that's what we're telling you here, that they use their discretion inappropriately, and we're trying to see what your stance is on that.
So in this instance, from what
Because I said again, your subordinate, when I said this was an arrestable offense, your subordinate said,
yeah, everything's an arrestable offense, but officers are encouraged, and by policy, officers are told that they have to issue summonses if those criteria apply. And by this case, from what I'm seeing, is that those criteria apply. A summons doesn't mean that they're not going to be held accountable. He's still going to have to go to court, and in municipal court, he might be forced to pay restitution as well.
so I'm gonna tell all the little brothers in the East that's selling crack to just say this is my first time,
Yeah, so
and I ain't never did this before.
So
And so
possession
please
with
use your
intent to
discretion,
distribute
officer.
crack cocaine is a felony.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a misdemeanor.
And over $500 of destruction of property is a felony.
Yep, except that we didn't.
It's
know your
$1,500. But because you didn't investigate. I'm an investigator, licensed in the state. If a look at the picture shows you $500 worth of damage, the officers had that information, bro. What are you saying? What are you really saying? Don't try to cover your ass. Help me help my people. And we can coexist. That's what I'm trying to tell
I'll
you.
tell you this. We're gonna initiate a disciplinary investigation to those officers. Specifically, they didn't even take the guy's license from you.
Yeah.
Because that's
And it's obviously $500 worth of damage, clearly,
basically
on an Infinity.
That's neglected to me, if that's what the investigation shows. You gave them information as to who the identity of the suspect was. They didn't properly record that information. So we're gonna figure out who those officers are. We're gonna initiate a disciplinary investigation against them. And then one of those investigators will eventually contact you to take a statement from you just regarding that. Because that's, I think, problematic. When they do that, they will look at the entire case too to see was there any other mistakes that they made. They'll look at the officer's body and camera footage to see were there things that the officer should have done that weren't within policy. So that's gonna happen based on today's conversation.
Appreciate that. I believe that because of him. But let me ask you this now. This is something that maybe shed some light on, and I'm not trying to go, but I am trying to see. I'm starting to feel like you're so constricted by the consent decree that only the lowest hanging fruit is being affected. Really. You know, I got a viral video where I got a woman drinking and driving, indecent exposure, stolen city property, and she couldn't even get a summons. And so, you know, we see now, I'm starting to believe that the consent decree is overprotecting those who were never in jeopardy. And it's alienating us. Well, that's not your issue. But I think the consent decree needs to go away right now. I'm gonna start fighting for that immediately. What do you think? Is this consent decree constricting you at all in any way? That I don't mean constrictions that are warranted. I mean ones that prohibit you from doing what you need to do out here for every citizen.
The consent decree forces us to demonstrate that we are following constitutional policing practices. That's what it is at its base core.
Well, shouldn't y'all have been doing that from the beginning?
We absolutely should have. Yes, we absolutely should have, but we weren't. And this department had a lot of issues. It really did. And the administration and the federal government decided that the only way to turn this department around was to put us under a consent decree. And that's where we've been for the last 9 or so years. So yeah, the consent decree is there to protect the rights of the accused and to ensure that we are practicing constitutional policing.
Have you talked to Commander Roberts about his community policing that he has set up in my neighborhood in the 7th Ward?
Not specifically in your neighborhood, but we certainly have community policing meetings on a regular basis where we have officers who are attempting to develop the community policing programs and find ways that we can connect with people.
Okay.
Just this past spring, we were connecting officers to kids in the schools that were on the fence, right?
Mm-hmm.
Kids that were in some pretty tough situations. And what we were doing was encouraging the officers and to kind of get to know those kids and serve them. So
Okay.
what was going on and, some of those kids, were able to open up to those officers to tell them, we're homeless, right?
Yeah.
My mom
Different things.
has issues, and we have a social worker on staff here that we can then connect those families to help them connect them to social services. So, our officers are certainly working to engage the community in not just big ways, but in personal ways.
Do you understand though that every time we have an instance like this, it sets you back with the
Absolutely, people lose faith in us.
it really does.
They absolutely do.
And so I speak probably about her particular case. Grandmas and mamas start coming in droves with fees and fines they paying for their son with similar crimes, and the lawyer fee and the bond money, you know. And so, like, man, we have to talk about a, a standard when we're talking about an officer's discretion. I know you understand how important that is, really, because if you ask me, that dude should have went to jail for this.
Yeah, but our policies dictate in that situation, that gentleman, that person, that suspect, that perpetrator, whatever you want to call him, should have been issued a summons.
But see, let me tell you why that another reason why that is bothers me. Because there's this narrative right now that black kids are destroying cars in New Orleans, right? And it's all over the news every day. And then this dude that's not black ruins her high-end car and it's no big deal to the NOPD. I can't That's what's flooring me.
Yeah, I would think that by our repeated response in issuing him a summons.
It would have been cheaper if he'd have broke your window. Do you know that? If he'd have just bust your window out, it'd have been cheaper for
By
you.
holding him accountable and referring him to a court, he's gonna have to face the music on that, right? Now, I will say that we cannot issue summonses to juveniles for crimes. We just can't. We have to, that's a different situation that you can't have a kid sign that he's gonna.
Yeah, I understand that.
Some,
So we're not gonna get an arrest here, Cap.
unless he misses court, he has been referred to the courts.
Okay.
So he can't be arrested for something he's already been summoned for. Now, if he doesn't go to court, if you show up for court, he doesn't go to the judge, issue a warrant.
So how do I know when I go to court?
They will likely send you a summons, but in the meantime, one of the problems that I have here is that you can't even get a peace bond because you don't know who he is,
No.
right? So that's problematic. So
We're gonna go do that tomorrow. I'm gonna go there and find out who he is if I have to. All right, that'll work.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't your officer tell him? Tell her.
Honestly, I don't know why. Because
She's saying, I'm afraid for my safety. I want to go get a peace bond. What's his name? And your
He
officer.
instructed me to go do the restraining
But
order.
wouldn't
He
tell her
said use
name.
The item number.
Yes, I don't know. That might be, he just doesn't understand. I gotta figure out why, right? That's why we're
Okay.
gonna initiate a disciplinary investigation, so we can kind of look and see what did everybody do and what did they know, not know, what did they get right, if that makes sense, right? So I gotta plug this in, 'cause the battery's dead. I'll pull it up and I'll be able to give you his name and his information so that you can go down to this court and get a peace bond or restraining order against him. So that in the event that he comes into your space or that he comes into your area, you'll have that document to show an officer to say, he's not allowed to have this. And we'll give you his address too, because he has to be served with that peace bond before he can enforce, right? So
Okay.
that way he can be filed into the record so that he can be served.
Okay.
So, Commander, one more thing I have to say before I leave you. I brought up the relationship my neighbors have with LeJean because it's very significant. If you guys don't have that type of infrastructure here in the East, I got 4 or 5 people who I want to tell you that you need to be in tune with, man, that have very good character and, they know what's really going on far beyond what you guys know. And it's time that we merge the grassroots and understand for everybody's safety. So you guys have got to respect that. That's why I'm here today. I appreciate the meeting. But I'm going to tell you, I'm a little disappointed. We needed an arrest. And so I will say this. I don't feel cross like I need to make a big issue, but we do got some more cases. So when can I sit down with you? We talk about we got some more people, need some reciprocity, man, some more investigations. So y'all can get the bad officers out and we can get everything the right way.
I'm gonna get you all that information.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. 504-617-3080. Rise Sons. Yeah. So, yeah, I want to say,
Plug this in just so I can
Okay.
give you.
I just want to say for the event, for the effect of my video. So I think this was an amicable meeting. I want to thank the city councilwoman for taking out of her busy schedule and the commander and the captain. And we have a basis to work forward on. They admitted that the ball may have been dropped and they're going to do an investigation. And we'll go from there. That's all I can ask them to do, to review it. But in the interim, we're gonna start talking about all these other cases we got in the East where people are not getting reciprocity because they're lower hanging fruit. So I'm gonna let this meeting go, but I appreciate y'all. And we gotta upset the setup. Do you feel okay?
Yeah, I wanna get his name.
We're gonna get his name, and I'll meet you there
And
first
the
thing in
fact,
the
and the
morning.
fact that my landlord said that he's not even the owner, like that should make him not be there at all.
Yes. So they got to fire him.
Mhm.
As soon as we get the peace bond, they got to fire him. Period. And so I want to ask you this, man. Um, can we ask for a courtesy if possible? If not, okay. What time you leave your shop in the evening?
Usually once it get dark.
Can we just have a patrol? She really afraid of him. I'm not trying to embellish. I heard her personal conversation with just me and her and I. And she's in here trying to be an adult, but she's uncertain of what he's capable of, really. And so, I want her to have some peace. How old are you, baby?
28.
I got a daughter older than her, you know?
So when it gets started, 8:30.
Yeah, like 8 o'clock.
Yeah. And what kind of car do you drive? Black Lexus?
Infinity.
Infinity? Yeah, tell them the year so they can know it's you. And just, and there's no guarantee, but if they can pass by, they will.
Mhm.
And they'll know that that's your car and that, you have no closure on this yet. And that, Cindy, let me tell you something. You are a treasure. How you keep your poise regardless, that's a quality. You got to have it to survive in this. And so I got to commend you. But yeah, and no disrespect to the captain, but I asked for his dime for my concerns, period. And so as long as he granted me his dime, it was my conversation. And I'm not saying that in a cocky manner. I scheduled this.
Yeah.
And so we don't even have to have a big uh, media thing. I'm going to get with this officer. We're going to talk about these other cases.
Okay, great.
And we'll go from there. Thank you for caring about your district.
All right, so his name is.
I'm on video. Just write it right there. I didn't want to. Yeah, I'll step out. I didn't
You
want.
said that you wanted to publish this information like you would have been arrested.
I did. Yeah, but I
Today
don't.
He's been arrested.
Well, I didn't want to publicize it. But what was his name then? If it ain't illegal.
It's not, it's a public record. You're the
Okay.
victim of a crime.
Mhm.
I'm giving you his information so you can file a peace bond against him.
Yes.
It's Min is his first name.
Okay.
He has arrested somebody.
Okay.
Here's your mail, his birthday, and his address so he can be served.
Okay.
Okay?
All right. Thank
Um,
you.
In the are you going back to work today or are you done?
Yes, I'm going back to work.
School is Wednesday. So I'm gonna give you my card. I'll give you mine too. But can you let us know when you get that peace bond?
We going in the morning. For sure.
So that our office can kind of be aware that that's done.
Okay.
Because after you file a peace bond, when he gets served on it, that's
Yeah, he's got to leave there.
that's what I would be most concerned about.
Yeah,
doing
because I was always assumed that he was the owner, but once my landlord said he's not the owner, it's the woman, I was like, oh, I don't know how he gonna feel if he can't go to work, be next door.
Even if he was the owner, he would have to leave. You guys were both.
So that's whatever the conditions the judge put, we're gonna enforce. I can't tell you what the judge will say he can or can't do.
Mhm.
I can just tell you that whatever the judge's conditions are, then we can enforce that.
Okay.
But it would be helpful for us if we knew what the conditions are. So once you get that bond signed, if you want, you can take a picture of it and email it to me, or you can scan it, whatever's easy for you,
Okay.
just so we can understand what he is not allowed to do, what he's
Yeah.
allowed to do, and so we
Okay.
can also be aware that he's probably gonna be getting served soon.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we can make sure that we're aware that you need a little bit more watch, somebody to keep an eye on you. When these first people.
So we got closure here. Thank y'all.
Well,
Appreciate
no,
y'all.
'cause I still have to initiate an actual formal investigation on this case.
I'm not worried about that. I know his family. He's gonna do whatever he sees wrong. He's gonna direct his officers the right way. I have full confidence in that. And no disrespect to you. I just don't know you.
I understand, but the things that you said that the officers did or didn't do, I've got to like initiate an investigation on that, right? So, it's gonna take me a minute. If you want, I can email you the information on that, like basically the case number that's being filed under. Uh, Or if you wanna wait, it's up to you. It's your call. Honestly, if you want, I'll email it to you before the end of the night.
Okay, you have my email?
If not, what is, if it's not in the report, what is?
It's Miller, Miller _ Tamyra, TAMYRA at yahoo.com.
And so you said you knew my mother, then you know that we don't get called until they're not getting any reciprocity. That's when they come to my house. And so it's going to come down to an investigation, but I want to say this to both of you face to face. We're not talking about a thug. This girl had no reason to lie about nothing. She was victimized, and we need to see credibility from a black person respected in New Orleans. That's what we need right now, man.
So let me apologize to you that, A, it took us 2.5 days to get there. I really am sorry that you got bad information on just being able to come to the station to make a report, right? That was, that's bad information. That's something that
We out.